Hi, thanks for spending time with me again today. We're looking at number 11, D flat major in Charlie Porter's Lyrical Etudes for trumpet. This is very interesting in many ways. First trick is, can I play through it? I tried to record this earlier, but some thunderstorms came through and I started to try and record it now, and it's getting dark, so let me do this before the lightning strikes. These are very satisfying for me to play, but not without their challenges. So let's go back to the beginning and check some things out. It says it's in D flat major, but the key, the tonic from the beginning is kind of suggested. Now, I'm going to show you what I mean. If you play D flat major, okay, D flat major, a key that we don't play in every day. So if you're uncomfortable with it, and I think I was a little uncomfortable there because it's got a lot of third finger action in it. So I'm just going to work on the scale. If I can play the scale comfortably, then I probably have a better shot at playing the music comfortably. So, but listen, I just played the scale, and this is what happens at the beginning of the piece. And here's tonic. See, tonic's there. It's suggested. You can kind of hear where it is, but he's going all around it. And that's very interesting because he combines it with a rhythmic idea, a rhythmic technique, and talks about this in the description of the piece, which is a metric deception or displacement, which means that normally when we hear something, the first note we hear, we think that it's on the beat. So it sounds like dee-da, 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 da, dee-da, dum. And the accent in the second bar is on the half note, and that would be dee-da, 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 da, dee-da. So that sounds like it's a downbeat as well. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is, and Charlie gives a very good description of it in right above the etude, but what you should be able to hear, even though your ear might be fooled, you should be able to hear where the beat actually is. And that depends on how somebody is performing it. So if you go, now I put the accent on the B flat. So I'm actually showing you that all those first notes that I played, three beats, 6/8 notes worth, before I get to the low B flat, are all a pickup because it starts on the second beat, which is a weak beat. So it's one, dee-da, 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 ya-dee-da. And yet he's written it to fool the ear, so it's dee-da, 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 da, dee-da. So it's tricky. I'm looking at the music. You may not be. And so that's just like the audience. You'd be sitting there. You don't know what it looks like on the page. It really doesn't matter to you. You're just trying to figure out where you are. Where is the downbeat? What is the key? And that provides a lot of musical interest. Now, there's a lot of other things going on in this piece. I was a little hacky getting into the second section. It says più mosso con fuoco, which means with fire. I think I said that con brio in the last episode that I did means with fire, which it doesn't. Con fuoco means with fire. My brother, who's an Italianist, will yell at me about this. But they both have to do with energy. And this is musical interpretation. So it says double forte, the character of it changes, the articulation becomes more pronounced. Let me see if I can toot through that section. I'm going to do it a little bit slower because it was not very good the first time through. So these are the musical things that I would work on. I was struggling a little bit technically the first time through. I hope some of the music still came through, but I'm not satisfied. I don't want the audience to be distracted. And this is where all our work is. We're trying to increase the quality of our craftsmanship and the quality of our musical perception, having to do with the pitch and the time, the phrasing, and all the textures like the articulation, the colors in the sound. All these things that kind of make up the ingredients of the music. We're trying to become very convinced in our own mind of what we want to do and then be able to do that physically. And that's really what etudes are for. They give us a challenging bit of material like this to play. And I'm going to suggest, please, if this is beyond your ability, don't get discouraged. There are lots of things that are beautiful to play. The Bordogni etudes, many simpler things that are beautiful to play. And the way I look at it, even playing a scale or a simple drill like one of the Clark studies, for example, or an exercise out of the Schlossberg book, to me that's always a musical statement. I just have to hear the qualities that make it music and not just be playing notes. Here, there's a lot of complexity going on. So before that section where I just started the più mosso, there are some markings. There are a lot of markings, and I've gotten many questions about these kinds of markings from my students, especially my adult students. So they see that little comma, and they say, well, should I take a breath there? That's a good question. And the answer is, maybe. And it's also, do you need to take a breath? Does it really mean a breath? It can be a suggested place to breathe. But usually that comma is not only an indication of a possible place to breathe by the composer, but an indication that you should phrase. In other words, show that before the comma is the end of something and after the comma is the beginning of something new. And that's what happens. In the third line, if you have the music, there's a little comma. And what I do is, instead of stopping and taking a breath, which is perfectly permissible, of course, I actually let it lift a little bit. What's confusing is it starts mezzo forte, crescendo to forte, and then back down again in this phrase. And in the middle, at the most intense spot, there's this little comma. So I'll just show you what I do and see if that makes any sense. So I wouldn't necessarily do it like that every time, but it's an option. And what did I do? I released the tension, but I still carried the note. I released the intensity, but I still carried the note. Now, I did something with the timing as well. I'm going to try it again, and this time I'm not going to do anything with the timing. I'll try not to. And then the character totally changes. So that's an end of a whole section. The whole first 3 lines is the first section of the piece, and then the music changes. So those timing things and the tenuto markings on the notes are just indications from the composer. This is, I'm hearing some emphasis, I'm hearing some weight and then release, and those are things to listen for. This doesn't have to do with figuring out how to do it. That comes by actually hearing it and then trying to achieve that coming out of your horn, and then checking yourself with the recording to see if it's working. There's another spot where that happens before the next dot tempo. So this is the 3rd line from the bottom of the etude. Let's see. Okay, no good places to start here. So I'm just going to start randomly, like the last bar of the 4th line. Pick up to the last bar of the 4th line. So my point here is, when the music is changing, when there's an ending of one thing and the beginning of another thing, a transition, in other words, you want to be paying attention to the transition is the hardest thing. You want to be paying attention to how you set up the transition. You're basically telegraphing a little bit that something is going to happen next. And this is what creates musical tension. Now, I realize some of you are just trying to play the notes. And that's great. And you may be frustrated listening to this because you may be frustrated that you don't feel comfortable playing it. But these principles apply to everything that you play. Even a simple drill or an exercise. It's still, all this still applies. So it's mostly a matter of listening to it when you hear very accomplished players doing it. Especially great, internationally known artists on whatever instrument or voice, actually in any genre. Now, granted, this kind of style, this kind of timing and so forth applies more to traditional classical music, but music is music. So if you can get down to the basic ingredients of what makes the music work, you've really accomplished something. And then work on producing those ingredients on your instrument, and now you're contributing something to the world of music. So I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration, and that you enjoy the process as you go through the difficulty of playing the trumpet every day, and get some enjoyment out of it, if only that it's fun to play something loud. So I'll see you later on when you have a little bit of time, and I hope you enjoy your practice. Bye-bye.